Knock, knock.
Who's there?
It's Gus Blessmann. Can I come in?
Yes, please
Yeah,
come
sure.
in,
You can
come
come in.
in, come in, Gus. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. And you guys, how are you?
We're really great. Thank you so much for joining us today. You absolutely can come in and have a great chat with us. So thank you for sharing your time with us. So Gus, I know you from the world of fitness education. I also know you working together as well. So I'm super excited to have you on our podcast. So why don't you tell everybody who's listening or watching on YouTube just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. First of all, Nikki, Gareth, thank you so much for the invitation. I got so happy when I received the invitation, and I'm so excited to be here to share a little bit more of my history, my background, my experience. So yeah, I am Gus. I'm 41 years old, trainer. I came from Brazil like 4 years ago now, like October 18th, I will have my fourth anniversary here in Canada.
Nice.
I've been working on the fitness industry for about like 20 years now. So since I started my graduation in Brazil. And yeah, this last 4 years here in Canada, it was amazing. So a lot of things to, how can I say, compare, but in a good way. So like there's a comparisons with the Brazilian industry, Brazilian market. But yeah, it was a huge learning since I did arrive here. So basically, I'm a physical education graduate in Brazil. I have a post degree in sports training and several certifications in functional training and like barefoot training. But my main certification, my main tool of work is the kettlebell. So I've been working with kettlebell since 2012 when I started my certification in functional training, and I was presented to this tool, and it was a very interesting introduction, and I'll tell you later. And yeah, so here in Canada, I'm doing exactly the same thing I used to do in Brazil, personal training. And since last year, I'm so happy to be part of the CanFit Pro trainer as well. So I'm a pro trainer of CanFit Pro. So basically, this is Gus.
Yay. Thanks for
Nice.
sharing, Gus.
Yeah. So I love the kettlebell stuff. I'm very passionate about that too, and I'm sure we'll have many conversations about that probably today and beyond today. Tell us a little bit, Gus, now, because we just like to do this at the beginning of the show. Everyone's listening and like, this guy sounds super interesting. I want to know more about kettlebells. I know that you currently have some education around not only the CanFit Pro stuff, but also kettlebell. So just tell everyone what you're running in that workshop and how people can get information, because I'd love for everyone to hear that now. And we'll also post it in the show notes too.
Sure, absolutely. So to start my history with the kettlebell, as I said before, it started in 2012 when I did a functional training course, and I saw someone swinging a kettlebell. My first vision of that image of that person doing that, I say like, oh my God, what this guy is doing, he's gonna hurt his back for sure. Oh yeah, so that's so interesting, because when we don't know about something, the first thing you have is the human being is that you have the criticism. Like, look, what is that? Like as a trainer, like what this guy is doing, right? What guy are doing? So like I just right after this, like sorry, this was the before the course. I saw someone at the gym doing the swings. So after this, I signed up for a functional training course, and in this course, the guy one piece of the course was about kettlebells. And then the teacher explained me about how it works, the kettlebell swing, about like all the brace, all the stability, which muscles make the movement. And then like, okay, calm down. Now it's clear. And then now I understand. And I got super, super interested. So interesting thing about this was another thing called my attention was the piece, was the bell, right? I'm always like that big bell, big and colorful bells, and say, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And when 2014, I just opened my gym, my studio in Brazil, and I set I bought a full set of kettlebells, but I bought the pro grade ones. I didn't know about the difference. So for our listeners and audience here, like there's two ways to training kettlebell. The main way, not main way, but the way I used to teach is the hard style. It's more for fitness and training. And there's the giveaway sport. It's a competition, right? In Brazil, we used to call like the fluid style, right? So there's two different bells for each category. So the pro grades is more for giveaway, and the other one, the iron cast, is more for fitness. For example, that kettlebells you see, like the black ones, like basically all the most of the gyms you find, it's the iron cast or cast iron. Here they use called cast iron, but that big ones, the big balls with like a straight handles, are pro grades for competition, right? So then I got confused at the first time, and I bought all the set for pro grades, and then someone told me, but this is for giveaway. You thinking to do about giveaway sports? So no, what is that? And then I did a certification on giveaway sport. And was in the first time I just stopped in the front of two ways and say, okay, I need to choose one to like a certify, to improve my technique. And I choose the hard style kettlebell. 2016, I did my first big certification from Strong First in Brazil. So was like the turning key for my career. It was an amazing certification, amazing environment, and a lot of content. I learned a lot about kettlebells right there. And all after this was like a researching, trying to improve the technique and creating new things. I was assistant for Strong First in Mexico City for certifications, in Costa Rica, and here in Canada as well. And then, okay, now I think I can call myself as specialist. So I used to run some courses in Brazil as well, right? But after like now, last month, after a time of research, a time of implementation, I launched my own course here in here in Canada, called Kettlebell Basics. Kettlebell by Gus is like it's my main brand. And now next Saturday, we're gonna have like the first group, like a training. And I'm thinking to launch at least a 4 or 5 more dates this year to 2022. So the course consists in like 2 modules. The first module breakdown is like all the swings 2 hands, swing 1 hand, clean, and get up, or Turkish get up. And then the model number 2, I will approach with front squat, presses, Z press, snatch it, and 1 advanced movement, and the programming as well, right? So this course is approved for 4 CCs CanFit Pro. So if you're thinking to renew your certification, come to me. Like send me a DM and let's talk, because I'm sure you're not gonna regret of this choice. It's a very good course, and I'm saying just not it's my course, because it's a very good course.
Yes, you are, and that's okay.
We believe you. We believe you. It's fine, and everyone else should. That's great. Incredible breakdown, and we will also make sure. So if you are listening, fitness professionals, and you think, or even if you're not a fitness professional, like I'd love to learn more about this, then head over to the show notes. We'll make sure there's a link in there so you can find out all the details and you can book yourself a spot on that course. So love sharing that. Love that we got that out there right at the very beginning.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed how you shared your story about how you're like, do you know what? I think I need to create a program around this of my own, because through your own self-discovery, you're like, oh, okay. And I'm not saying that you made mistakes, but you're just like, oh, okay, I thought it was this, but now, through better education, it's that. So I love how you've taken your learnings and said, hey, how can I, capture this and then pay that forward? So other people, can kind of get into the world of kettlebells a little quicker, a little easier, and choose their route. So I just want to expand a little bit more for those who aren't in the fitness industry, because you mentioned hard style and then the more fluid style, and then the competition style. So I think immediately when we hear hard style, we think we're going to die a little bit and things will fall off and will explode. So can you just kind of break down a little bit, like, what moves would we see in hard style? Like, I mean, you said it's more fitness industry. Like, is that the stuff that we typically see in the gym? And then you spoke about competition. Like, what do you actually do with that? Like, can you just expand that a bit more, Gus?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the competition, right? With the giveaway. So the difference between both styles, there's like some movements techniques, right? For example, so on a hard style, you do like hard movements. The kettlebell swing, there's two main points. So the back swing, and you need to move fast and powerful to the top of the swing, right? It's like a tap, 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 right? The fluid style, if you can check on YouTube. There's several videos about competitions. It's more like it's kind of more like a dance. Like the competitor, they just flow the kettlebell between their legs and go up and lift, or bring here to the clean and stop for a little bit in a more curved position and lift a little more slow. There's as the name says, it's more fluid, right? So yeah, sometimes the hard style can scare people.
Mm-hmm.
So my background, the certification that I have, there's this more military environment, but it's good a little bit to like a boot camp to kind to let all the participants excited, right? But yeah, main difference, it's about movement, right? So the technique, about the cleans, about the swings, about the snatches. The difference between like hard style snatch and the fluid snatch is pretty clear. At the top of the movement, you like to put the bell behind your hand, and you twist your hand and put down. And the hard style, you need to pull the kettlebell, and the kettlebell need to flip up over your hands, right? There's like very clear difference between two styles, right? So competition, let's say the rules of competitions on giveaway, it's like a pretty similar as a weightlifting competition. So you have like a time to do this, you have like a weight categories, and then like the competitor who left more time and less in this time is the champion, right? So there's a different like, how can I say, competitions inside of the kettlebell competition. There's like a biathlon, snatches, clean and presses, the different options of competition. But yeah, so hard style, it's something you can put and match in your fitness routine, right? So basic 6 movements for kettlebell style: swing one hand as well, clean, get up, press, front squat, and snatch. This is the 6 basics. Some people call it like big 6 basics. And then after, you can like put, for example, different grips and different options for like lunges. You can work like the goblet squats. You can use a kettlebell just as a tool. This is the main difference in my course, is like it's focused on that. You have more options to use, not just as a tool, but like improve your technique on kettlebell training, right? I would like to say to like use the tool properly, because you can use the tool just as a tool. But for kettlebell training, there's like a proper way to use the kettlebell. So I think, Nicky and Gareth, this is the main difference. I think it's the way, the vision about the kettlebell hardstyle training.
Yeah, excellent. And do you know what? I see too many kettlebells being used as doorstops. Because people don't know what to do with them, right? And this is a really good point. Paperweight, doorstops, all of those kind of things, right? And I think people don't really understand how versatile it truly can be. But going all the way back to something you said earlier, which is you saw a guy or a girl doing a swing and you're like, oh my goodness, they're gonna, hurt their back. So I think there's that element to it. People think it's a good idea. It's versatile. It's kind of cool. I could have it as a home training piece of equipment. And then they're like, but now I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just going to prop open the back door. So I like that you're in your course, you do explain how you use it, the main movements that you could execute, but then also, I guess the combinations, the way you go with it next, is kind of endless.
Yeah, and I'll just share something that I think aligns with exactly what you were just saying, Gus. And whenever I've taught kettlebell, like small group training with kettlebells, and but I've also used them in the training, and we use them a lot in what we do at the Nock Academy. However, we don't typically teach a lot of traditional style stuff. Because it's kind of more integrated. And I always used to explain this to people as, you've got kettlebell exercises. So these are exercises where you can only really use the kettlebell for it.
Yeah.
And then you have exercises where you use the kettlebell, like a goblet squat. You could also use a dumbbell for that. You could use a kettlebell for a one-arm row, but you could also use a dumbbell or a band. So we typically, when we have it, lots of our clients will have kettlebells at home, and we use their exercises where we use a kettlebell. And then we have a kettlebell session once a week where we teach a little bit more of the traditional stuff. We tell them how to hold it, where you need to grip it, where, you know, and all those things that are a little bit more unique to the kettlebell. So that's how I always explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this, it's perfectly said, but one thing I used to say, Nicky, about that is like it's very good to think about a kettlebell and look to the kettlebell, and the kettlebell will speak with you, and they say like I can become let you very strong and powerful, or I can hurt you so bad.
Yeah.
The difference is how to use it, right? So the difference is like you need to know how to use for proper exercise. You need to know the right technique, right? But there's no problem. For example, like I went to like the Walmart or like some like a fitness store, and I bought just 1, 2, 3 kettlebells to have in my house to exercise myself. As you said, Gareth, you can use as a goblet squat. You can do some biceps curls if there's like the load that you have to work. So this is one thing just the kettlebell made me to fall in love about this. It's like the versatility. You can have 1, 2, 3 pieces and do a lot of things, right? So then this is a very, very interesting thing to say. So you can use for everything, but at the point you want to use for specific exercises, you need to have more technique. And interesting thing you said as well, Nicky, it's like it's not I'm not teach just how to use, but for trainers, I think it's very important, like teach them how to teach, right? So once you start to train with kettlebell, the train yourself with kettlebells, it's one thing. In my course, I make sure you're gonna leave the course knowing how to teach your clients. For me, this is pretty important because you can imagine how bad it is if you hurt like or let your client hurt themselves. So then this is an important piece. Don't come to my course just thinking to learn how to use the bell, but think about how you will learn to teach your clients methodology, all the skills, drills, like the progressive drills to like to reach. For example, for me, the most challenging thing is teaching people to use the kettlebell for swings, right? I think like when you think in kettlebell training, the mainly exercise comes to your mind, it's a kettlebell swing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, and the most commonly mistake you can see on social media and YouTube videos, and people doing like a squat swings, or even like some very bad swings. In this case, they will hurt their backs for sure, right? So then like we start with all the progression of the hip movement, the hinge. We like to teach how to do the hinge properly. You teach some like drills to like improve the hinge, and after we go to the deadlift, and then you like try to split the deadlift and create 3 parts to like to do the high, the dead swing. And when I reach the swing and say, okay, now my students did the swing, I will divide the swing in 8 pieces. I used to call in my course in 8 points, and I will put like a point by point in your body, and I could give you 1 piece of advice. I used to say it's a puzzle. I'm gonna start with 1 piece. You're gonna have this piece. Think about this piece, repeat, do it. You're good? Okay, so I give you 1 more piece, but don't forget the piece number 1. Put it together and start to build your swing, and then you can do this to your client as well. And then when you finish the course, you have all the knowledge. I think you can just like transit and flow between these 2 things. Use the regular, the right kettlebell training exercise, and use the kettlebell as a tool to improve and put like some accessory exercises. And I believe strongly on this like framework for teach and learn kettlebells.
Yeah, so important. And, you know, for anyone listening who's a professional or an educator, that's such an important point that we need to look at whenever we're trying to deliver anything. And also understanding that from a consumer standpoint, people listening that are fitness consumers is understand there's often a process, and look for your coach of choice that's actually able to teach you something so you can learn it, as opposed to, like I always say, anybody can make you sweat and breathe heavily, but there's a skill to coaching you to learn to movement, right? So here's something that I'd love to hear your take on, Gus. Now, we know, and we'll tell everyone else, you're a parent like we are, and our our market is busy parents. They want to move more. They want to be efficient. They want to feel good. I can imagine a lot of busy parents that are listening right now are saying, well, that all kind of sounds a bit intense or a bit too complicated. I just want to get my 30 minutes in and then what have you. What I'd love to hear your take as a busy parent, and having coached probably many busy parents in your career, is why are those kettlebell style movements so beneficial to someone that's trying to have a functional body to be a parent, and where's the crossover?
Perfect. So we can start for the cardio. Let's say like when you like learn how to do the ballistics, you can put exercise together to create a complex. Don't need to be too long if you're busy. Like you can change one of the variables, its intensity, right? If you're like depending of your fitness level, right? But again, like when I told you, like I fell in love with kettlebells because of versatility. Let's think you just need to have one bell and you need to have like a, sorry, I'm a South American guy, so then I use like a square feet. I'm not like to, I like
No worries.
Square meters, not square feet. I use square meters. So like I think about have just one kettlebell and maybe like 4, 6 square meters, right? You don't need anything. Just like a good part of mobility. You can use the kettlebell to mobility. And then after you can put your cardio with swings, with complex, and your strength training with like a presses, with squats. We have 2 main movements on a kettlebell training. It's the ballistics and the grinds. Ballistics you use more for cardio and grinds more for strength, right? So if you're busy, you used to call, or like for example, like I saw in the on Nock Academy. Nock Academy is like it's an amazing basement, it's an amazing place. You have your sessions. So we use the kettlebell crew used to call like the courage corner. So go to your courage corner, your kettlebell, maybe your mat, just a few space, and do quickly a set and a routine of exercise, or for cardio or for strength. It's easy. You don't need like one thing. I begging you, busy parents, dads. So don't let your kids around when you're swinging a kettlebell, right?
Yes,
so
good points.
Exactly. So the kids are very curious. They are very like active. And many times, sometimes I have clients, they used to train with the kids around. I'm always told, say, hey, please, you cannot ask your kid just to go too fast, because sometimes you're so focused on an exercise and then like bad can happen. I have years ago, I had a post about the guy doing like swings. Like it seems like he's a kind of coach teaching on a screen. And he using a very bad kettlebell. It was a plastic one with a cement inside, with some kind of rock inside, and he's swinging. And I'm swear, like the kid just passed in front of him, and 2 seconds after the kettlebell broke and goes straight exactly where the kid passed before.
Yeah.
Right. So just because you're busy doesn't mean you cannot be careful and like create a safe environment for yourself, right? So yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like I would say, Gareth, like even on a Can Fit Pro courses, we used to say, like I think the worst excuse your client can give to you is a busy, right? I have like I used to put on my course a calculation of hours of your day, hours of sleep, hours of work, and like do the calculation, and I delivered the client. You still have like 62 hours in your week to do it, right? I just need 3 from you in an average, like a range for 3 times a week. For parents, there's no time. Let's say start with 15 minutes, 30 minutes with a kettlebell, good workout, intense workout, a swing, like do some routine. And yeah, it's going to be very, very beneficial. It's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I love that we can get our cardio and our strength training with one tool, and it's convenient, it's cost effective. We can fit it in, like you said, be safe, but you can fit it in. You can do it in your house in that lunch break, nap time, when the kids are gone to bed, whatever that looks like. And I also think as well that when you look at the tool and you look at the exercise, so for anyone that's listening and maybe doesn't know what a kettlebell swing is, it's that pattern where the kettlebell swinging back between your legs, that hinging pattern from the hips where we're leaning over. Well, think about that. If you're a parent listening, think about the amount of times you have to pick something up that your kids left on the floor. You have to help them tie their shoelaces. You have to pick them out the crib. You have to carry them. They want to play at the park. They want to move around, and you're twisting, you're rotating. Like all of these things happen when using the kettlebell. So although it might sound sometimes a little bit elite or a little bit scary, is it crosses over so well and creates this functional strength as a parent that we can use for everyday life.
Or even like a carry your kids. There's another very interesting video. It's about like some kind of like a Christmas campaign. So it seems like shows like an old man, like a training hard with kettlebell and trying to put the kettlebell up and train hard with kettlebell. Everyone look at him, he cannot. And at the end, I will do the spoiler here. I'm so sorry, but like I just like the story. And at the end, like the same movement he's doing with a kettlebell, he did with his granddaughter, just to put the star on the top of the. So that he has a goal to be stronger. He used the kettlebells to be stronger, but to have a good and better quality of life, and like just like put this movement on his daily basis movements and routine. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I've seen that, and yes, I might have cried a little bit, but
oh no, yeah. So like I don't know what's happened with the screen of cell phone, because like my eyes start sweat for no reason. What was that? What was that? So like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
But no, you're right.
It's a great video.
And that does translate to, you know, what are we training in quotation marks for, right? What is movement about? You know, it really is about quality of movement in day-to-day living, being able to do activities, whether it's with your children, your grandchildren, with other people in your household, your pets. You know, that ability to be able to pick up your granddaughter and put the star on top of the Christmas tree meant everything. And I know it was a commercial, but yeah, like it got us both, eh, Gus?
Another interesting thing, Nikki, like you mentioned, is if you think like now as a parent, I don't know about you guys, but like in my case, in the past, I used to want to be more fit. I want to be fit, aesthetic, but with the time, you just want to have quality of life, right? You want like to avoid pain, you want like to move well. So the good thing about kettlebell is that if you're like a very young dad, or like you think it's your young dad, or your young 50s, you with the kettlebell you still can be fit, like a train for be fit and like static, but with the same tool, just in a different approach, you can train or have more life quality.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's what it's all about, right? For absolutely everybody, is just be able to move and move well, right? And reduce.
Move often.
Yes, absolutely. So if we think about the kettlebell itself, Gus, and I know we've gone through so much, and I'm sure the people that are listening, you know, they're kind of wheels are turning in their brain. So for somebody who maybe has a kettlebell as a doorstop, or somebody that's thinking about investing in a kettlebell, like what would you say like are the like top 3 benefits, boom boom boom, and then the top 3 key movements, boom boom boom, and then how to best get started?
Okay, so best 3 improvements. The best thing about kettlebell, it would be like a core strength, hip power, and general health improvement, right? Because cardio, strength, you can do both, like these 3 things. So think about, I said about that weird guy, or actually was a girl, like a swinging a kettlebell, oh, she's gonna have like a bad back pain. The opposite, like a training kettlebells, you're gonna have like more power and more stability in your core, and you avoid back pain, you improve your back pain. So 3 main exercise, I would say swing, I would say squat, front squat or goblet squat, and Turkish get up. Can I put Turkish get up as first one? Because I'm always like that internet and social media joke. They would say like if like someone told you like you just have one exercise to pick for the rest of your life, which one is? Like I'm not a deadlift guy, so I'm a Turkish get up guy. Why? Because you improve your mobility, you improve your stability, and under load. You work in all 3 planes of movements under load. So it's good for your body, mobility, and for your brain. So if we're talking about neurologically speaking, like the movement and the way your brain needs to think, like your body in different positions at the same time and transitioning from one position to another, not doing a symmetric thing, I would say like at the get up, it's the best exercise ever, right? And the best way to start with Gus. No, I'm
Hey,
kidding.
Correct
understood the assignment.
I'm kidding. So I think you can see there's a lot of good sources on internet, but please be careful, right? So in the past, I was against like the internet course and sessions, and then COVID hit, and then I learned, okay, I can teach kettlebell online, right? So, but just make sure the person teaching online have some credentials, they know about that, right? Because another thing, like you can, when you go to my course, you learn how to teach, but it's a little bit different. You need to be a little more detailed when you teach online, right?
Sure.
So then to start, like start with easy movements, start with simple things, try to check the technique for each one very clearly, go step by step. Don't think you're gonna grab your kettlebell and swinging and like squatting as a crazy and as a very crazy fit internet guy. No, just start slowly, like checking the technique, improving your technique step by step, and most important, like train all day. So kettlebell training, it's, as I said, training. It's about practice, 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 practice. You never stop to practice. I'm used to say, once they asked me about the perfect swing, I said I did a perfect swing once by mistake. So it's something you always can improve. You need to practice all the time in order to keep growing and keep doing right. I believe this is like the best advice I can do to start a kettlebell. Just like look for a good source, someone who knows about the tool. He knows how to do, he knows how to teach, and start very slowly, step by step.
Great, that's great tips. And I was nodding along there because I am far from the specialist when it comes to kettlebells. I know how to use one and how to handle one, and have done my training. But when I hear you, Gus, as a specialist and an expert, say the definite things you need to teach are the swing, the goblet squat, and the get up. And then I think about our kettlebell class on the schedule. I'm like, yeah, we pretty much do that every week. Okay, so I let myself a little tick. I'm like, yep, keep doing that. Gus said to do it. Pass. So thanks for that confirmation for me. I love that, and there's some great advice in there, and nice and simple. And what I'll add to that too is be aware when you're an exerciser, if you're listening to this and you are accomplished in squatting, and you can hinge or deadlift, and we do this in a lot of our training sessions, and I always say this to our members is, if you have a kettlebell, come to the session, because you are going to see a lot of the things. What we're now going to see is, can we now take that deadlift, for example, and make it ballistic and turn it into a swing? You've got the fundamentals. So not only is it that, but if you have the fundamentals and you learn how to move well, that crosses over to kettlebell skills as well. And then we can just dial up that intensity and complexity with the bell on top of what you already know. Yeah.
As I told you, like there's a point of start, like a hinge, deadlift is a progression. Don't try to skip that. Like make sure you have like good movement in order to pass the next step.
Yeah.
So if somebody's listening and they're like, okay, I want to do this course with Gus. Like, I'm all in. He knows his stuff. So just to kind of hone in on that, is it a one-day course? Is it live in person? Is it online? Like, give us a bit more deets about that.
Okay. So for now, I'm really in-person guy. I love the contact. I love to share. I love the energy of the courses. Right. So now I'm doing the courses on in person. Right. But I have an idea to create something online, to record something online for example, like reach people around the world, like or someone like listen you guys in BC or Nova Scotia, they really want to come and he can come because of the distance. I'm thinking about to create it online. But now the courses are running here at the gym that I work. It's called Body and Soul Fitness. We have 3 locations, one here in the front street, Eglinton Avenue West, and Leslie Street. So next Saturday, the first group we will run in, I will run on Eglinton location. Okay, it's an 8 hours course each model. So we have the model 1, as I told you, we're gonna see the swing, one hand swing, kettlebell clean, and Turkish get up in one day. And the model 2, we're gonna see the snatch, we're gonna see the front squat, we're gonna see the press, Z press, military press, one advanced movement. I'm keeping as a surprise because just like a lot of people more interested about
yes,
that.
good for you.
One surprise advanced movement and a piece of programming as well. I will teach you at the end of the second module how to program your workout for like a strength, for complexes, for cardio, right? So 2 modules, 8 hours. So this year I want to do at least 4 or 5 more dates for the module 1, and at least 1 date for module 2 for those who are interested to go and improve a little bit more going forward on the kettlebell training. So you can find me mainly on my Linktree link on my Instagram. It's at prof.gus_b, prof of professor, prof.gus_b. There's a link on Linktree, and click there. I will update for each course. For example, if you like, just go now, you see the link for the course for next Saturday. But right after this, I will put one more in October. I already have one sold out for October. This is very, very good. You can find me on my Facebook as well, Gus Blessmann, everything together, GusBlessmann. And these 2 main places to find me and get more information about my course and all the schedule for this year as well.
Awesome. And I will, for anyone listening, you can just head over to the show notes and you'll be able to find the links. I'll make sure they're all in there. So your Linktree, your Instagram, Facebook. And I will also add, we spoke a lot about movements today. We spoke about the swing, the get up, things that people aren't always necessary. Now, you say squat and lunge, people typically know what that looks like. So I will link some videos in the show notes today as well. So if anyone wants to just check out what these movements are, you'll be able to see them and you'll be able to find them. Listen, Gus, this has been incredible. So much wonderful information that you shared. And I know people that are keen to use a kettlebell, keen to use it more if it's that doorstop or paperweight, or someone that wants to buy one. Will have got a lot out of today, and I'm sure there's some really useful information in there. So we appreciate you coming on, sharing a little bit of info, giving us your time. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gareth and Nick. I am so happy to share because I told you, like, I care about my passion. So yeah, I'm so glad since the day I did receive the invitation, I got like, oh my God, it's a huge opportunity. And yeah, I will confess I was a little bit nervous. Yeah, this was my first podcast in English as ever. I never did any podcast in English, so I was nervous. Like I know my English is not like the perfect English yet, but like, oh my God, now let's do it. Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you so much for this open space, for the opportunity.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hey, your English, considering you've been here for 5 years, is pretty awesome. Just putting that out there. So way to go, you. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. And thank you for re-inspiring me. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've actually done a kettlebell workout myself. And you're right, Gareth. I do tend to use it perhaps just for movements which I could use something else rather than kettlebell specific movements. So, so thank you for your inspiration again.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thank you goes to everyone tuning in today. Thank you for listening. We hope you gained some valuable information. If you know someone that's passionate about kettlebell, someone that wants to start training or teaching on it, or just anyone that would get benefit from the conversation, please share this episode with them. We really appreciate it. It helps the world of podcasting go round. And if you could leave us a quick review while you're there, let everybody know you loved the episode and what you loved about it. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. That is it for today's episode. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next week.